All right, let's shift our focus to this story now. Students at the Sefako Makgatho Health Science University are threatening to intensify their strike. It follows the suspension of a student and 3 SRC members. Students are angry over delays in NSFAS allowance payouts. The SRC says the funding scheme hasn't made payments since the beginning of the year. Meanwhile, NSFAS says it will start making payments from tomorrow. eNCA's Pule Letshwiti-Jones is in Garankuwa and joins us now with the very latest. Good morning, Pule. So we are in April, and it seems as though NSFAS has not paid since the beginning of the year. What's going on?
Yeah, definitely seems as though this is still quite a problem for many institutions. According to a communique we saw, the National Student Financial Aid Scheme had committed to saying that they would be facilitating and ensuring that they process the payments by the 7th of April. Today is the 6th of April. But fact is that the students here who are frustrated haven't received any tuition fee allowance or funding since January. It's now the 4th month they're entering, and that's why they're quite upset. But just yesterday around 10 p.m., around 9 p.m., we received some bit of information from the students themselves saying that they had suspended about 3 of their SRC members, including the student as well, and they vowed to intensify and continue with the protesting if the institution does not come to the table and negotiate with them. Now, here's a fact here, is that these very same students had gone to Cape Town in the Western Cape to try and negotiate with the officials from NSFAS before, and it seems as though those talks were not fruitful. There was no commitment whatsoever as to when this issue would be resolved. But joining me now, I'm speaking to the SRC president here at the Sefako Makgatho University, Tato, who joins me this morning. Thank you very much for speaking to us, Tato. Just give us a background in brief as to what is the problem, because you're also one of those who's been suspended.
No, thank you, Pule. Look, the problem is still simple. We want students to have their money into their account as soon as now, so we go back to school. It is very wrong that management, somewhere at 9 yesterday, suspended myself, of course, with the Secretary General and the school chairperson and one of the students here, who have been peacefully demonstrating of a problem they are aware of a problem they could have resolved long time ago. We told them we do not want to be here and we want to go to school. They said they want a letter of commitment from NSFAS. They will pay them on the 7th. They will process the money. But today they paid 1.4, which is not enough. Students have made commitment elsewhere, taken loans with the hope that by now the money would have been there. But now it's not there. Now they are creating 2 problems. Now the first problem that we are having now is that you are suspending a representative of students who is at that point because they are representing students with a problem you are well aware of and that you are supposed to have resolved long time ago.
Tell us about your talks with NSFAS when you were in Western Cape. What did they say to you?
So when we were in Western Cape, NSFAS told us that at that time they'd made the first payment. I think about the first tranche that they always speak about. We asked the university, they confirmed to have received it. They told us that, you see, we paid this month. We are coming back, the second one. The following week, they were supposed to have processed the money. We believed them. The following week became the next, and that sequence continued in that era to date. At least on Tuesday, that is the only time when they released that letter of commitment, which is a letter the university had always wanted. And they said to us that once they receive that letter, they are going to do what? They are going to directly pay these students.
And what's the way forward from here onwards?
Well, of course, the way forward is, of course, to engage different fraternities of within the sector so that they, 1, lift our suspension, 2, pay these students because we want to go to school, we want to learn. That's what we are here for.
All right, thank you very much, Tato, for joining us. I had seen the spokesperson of the institution just around here. I don't know, seems as though he has now disappeared because, frankly speaking, I did want him to give us a bit of a sense of comment as to what is the way forward from their side onwards. But of course, as the SRC has been saying, it seems as though they will be continuing with these protests for the next couple of days until they can resolve this issue with the institution. I see the spokesperson right now there. We will be going to him just to chat to him and get a sense of what is going on and what is the way forward. Doc, thank you very much for joining us on eNCA this morning. We just wanted to get some sense of, understanding as to, from the institution side, what is the way forward? Just after we got the information that some student representatives had been suspended from the institution.
I think what I must say is that since the strike started, the university took action to make sure that for Ms. Kofas it pays for all the allowances that were outstanding. And that was done. That has been sorted out as a university. But what has since happened is that the continuation of the blockade of the entrance points, all entrance points to the university, contravenes the student code of conduct. And really the university has a responsibility to act to make sure that we reinstate order, we make sure that services are not interrupted. If you look at it, when you close all the gates to SMU, it doesn't only affect staff and students at SMU. There are departments within the university that provide service to the local community, which means that is going to be affected. You've got an SMU dental hospital, that is going to be affected, and a whole lot more will be affected. And the university's position is that we can't have a situation where once the issues have been resolved, we still have a situation where students insist on continuing with the blockade of the entrances to the university. So indeed the students have been issued with letters to say, it's a notice of intention to suspend, to say, give us a response within the next 24 hours. I think it just expires in around 6 or in the evening today, to say, why shouldn't this upheld? They are supposed to respond to the university to that letter. Once that is done, the university will have to look at the representations and chart the way forward on what needs to be done going forward.
Let's chat about, in terms of the agreement with the National Student Fund Aid Scheme, who's on the wrong, have they paid or have they not paid? What is the problem here? Where is the technicality?
Let me start by saying that the university has paid whatever has been paid in process and given to the students. It's coming from the university coffers, because by yesterday the university had not yet received the full allowance that is supposed to be paid to the university. That is really the crux of the matter. We have since learned that NSFAS has indicated that most of these things will be done by the 7th, which is tomorrow. So as much as there are problems, there are some issues that have been resolved, but it will be interesting just to see what then transpires after the 7th. Will those payments have gone through? And then we'll take it from there. But the university is not waiting for the 7th. That's why it is decided to use its coffers to process the allowances to make sure that life goes on.
Just lastly, what happens now? Has the academic curriculum being disrupted? When will you continue with classes?
There's definitely disruption. At this stage, not a lot of things are happening on campus. And because of that, management is looking into how best to deal with this. As I said yesterday, when you have an interruption like this, you need to have a situation where you have a catch-up plan of some sort to make sure that we recover lost time and make sure that the academic project is not further derailed.
Thank you very much. Of course, that's the spokesperson for the Sefako Makgatho Health Science University, speaking to us this morning regarding those developments around the intention to suspend some of the SRC members. They've been given about 24 hours to respond. They're supposed to respond by 6 p.m. today, but on your screen, as you can see, a small group, or a handful rather, of students continue to block the main entrance where staffers and visitors would usually enter. It will be interesting to see how the story does unfold throughout the day, and whether the funding scheme will respond to the demands and grievances of these frustrated students. Of course, this comes just a few weeks after we saw similar protests unfolding at the Wits University in Johannesburg.